Hello, and welcome to my review of the Soar by AirDesign. It's an ENB wing, and I've tried out both the small sizes and the medium sizes. AirDesign very kindly lent me the wings to borrow, but these thoughts and opinions are of my own. They have not paid me to make this review. I just wanted to share the experiences that I've had, and it's been amazing actually. I've had this wing for most of the summer, and I've taken it on lots of adventures, from Volbiv trips of up to 5 days, where some of the time I was carrying the wing and some time I was flying with it. And then other trips where I've made really nice cross countries and finished up flying at almost 4,000 meters with it. So I've had a pretty full spectrum of flying on this wing. When I was flying the small, I was pretty much at the very top end of its weight range. And when I was flying the medium, I was flying it on Volbiv trips, and I was flying it just a few kilos under the top of its weight range. Maybe the small is like a little bit more nimble, perhaps you could say, but the medium by no means is any kind of slouch. And flying at those weight ranges, I feel like they're quite similar. I also flew the medium quite lightly loaded, and my preference would definitely be to fly the wing at a little bit of a heavier wing loading. The wing takes off really nicely. Being the lightweight fabric it is and lightweight design, it inflates with no problems. When I've been ground handling the wing, I've really enjoyed ground handling it. I find that the ears can be a little bit floppy on the ground, and that they have a habit to sort of push in under, but then they pop back out again. It doesn't really affect the roll of the glider when it does that. It's just a slightly softer wing. When you get the wing inflated and you make a takeoff, it comes up very nicely. Making some takeoffs and some really quite strong winds, I actually found the wing very confidence inspiring because it wasn't trying to overshoot and get a frontal. I think you've got great brake control on the ground, and I found it very confidence inspiring for the launch. The flying characteristics of the wing in the air are a little different on the ground. The ears that are kind of coming in and tucking under themselves sometimes when you're ground handling, I find it doesn't do that once you're in the air. It's very rare that the glider is getting any kind of collapses. I've flown this glider now in some very strong and turbulent conditions, and I've been amazed at how good it does at keeping itself together. It gives you plenty of warning when it's going to surge, and the brake authority is amazing. You've got a lot of power to be able to stop the wing from overshooting you and frontaling, and I really appreciate that. When you're thermaling and turning with the glider, I'm nearly always flying with one wrap on the brakes. I feel like it's set up nicely to do that, and with that setup, you then have very direct input. You only have to move your hand down, a centimeter, and you're already feeling that you've got good control of the wing. And to me, I find that a nice thing. I mean, the brake pressure is quite firm there, but it's very direct. And personally, I like that style of flying. I like that I'm not having to pull my arm down really far to hold it into a thermal. You're only really often having to move kind of 4 or 5 inches most of the time.
Yeehaw! Here we go, 3,750 meters coming up. Higher than the Drew! Insane! Teddy Drew, Grand Drew just behind it.
The climb rate of the glider is really good. It's climbing, in my opinion, just as well as anything else out there. I've often found myself out thermaling or out climbing Xenos and the like. That might be because the glider's flying a little slower than them, but I find it very easy to get the glider to adjust into the core. The glider's not getting kicked back as you fly into some thermals like some Bs are. It's doing a pretty good job, and especially if you keep a little bit of bar on, I find that it really bites nicely into sort of those deeper thermals. You can keep the bar on for a little bit as you're coming in, and then it's cutting in nicely. The glider is very confidence inspiring. It's giving you a lot of performance, but it's also giving you a lot of safety. I'm not finding this wing is collapsing at all very often. I've flown some other wings in the past. There was a BGD B wing that I flew for a while, and I found that the manufacturer was talking about having the ears collapsing in early to give you warning of rough air. And to me, it didn't actually inspire confidence, because I felt like that was leading to other collapses. With the Soar, yes, I've had a few collapses on it in full bar, but they've normally been when I've been flying into a very strong thermal and been pushing a little bit hard and haven't quite caught it in time. What's been confidence inspiring about when that has happened is that it's sorted itself out very quickly. This glider really likes to reinflate very fast. If you do get any collapses, before you really know about it, I found that it's poof, comes straight back out again. And I like that. And the confidence of having great feeling with the wing, and then this kind of knowledge that it isn't going to suddenly collapse on me, has allowed me to be flying very close to things. I've suddenly found that I'm happy to make turns into cliffs where I wasn't before on other wings. And that's great, because I've been able to climb up and get out of places faster. So I really like that, and I've ended up in a few lee side situations on this wing where I think I would have been scared on maybe my zeolite, I would not want it to be there, but with the Soar I've really felt confident in the wing, because it's just so solid, and it's giving you so much time before anything drastic happens. So yeah, from a confidence point of view, this glider is really sort of giving you a lot there.
Very strong. Probably currently like 5 or 6 meters a second, I guess. Going up pretty quick. Just need to be careful not to end up in
Some of the lower performance wings, I find they're not capable of pushing out of a windier place, and I'm not saying this thing flies like a two-liner, because it doesn't have that same penetration as a two-liner, but for a high-end B, it's incredible. I think it's kind of flying not too differently to the Arctic 5 that I had last year. AirDesign suggests that trim speed is 38 kilometers an hour, pushing up to 55 on full bar, and I found that to be quite accurate. I find the glider does fly a little bit faster than a lot of other wings out there when I've been flying along ridges or making crossings. Even when I've not had any speed bar on, I've been quite often catching up with and even overtaking gliders. As soon as you put on like half bar, you're getting up to about 45 km an hour. Flying with speed bar on the wing feels very comfortable. Typically I'm not really pushing past half bar by very much, unless I'm in very heavy sink and want to get out of somewhere. I find the sweet spot is, flying roughly with half bar, or just trying to keep it close to its trim speed of about 38 kilometers an hour. It seems to fly really well at that speed. AirDesign have made a new riser system that when you pull directly down on the back of the risers through the green sort of sling that they've made, you can engage the Bs as well for rear steering. Personally, I found that this has not worked so well for me. I find it a little heavy and a little on and off, and I actually find that just flying on the Cs to steer is more effective in my opinion. I can see what they tried to do there, but I'm not sure if I like the feel of that as much. But perhaps it's a good step in the right direction for these three-liner wings for being able to fly on the risers nicely. One of the Soar's real party tricks is its ability to be able to pump the brakes to come into landing. It's incredible how much you can brake this glider before it actually stalls. And you can go really deep with the brakes. I'm saying this hoping that people are going to find where the stall point of the glider, and you're not just going to stall it 10 meters above the ground. You need to be careful whilst you're doing this. But the glider does give you an amazing ability to be able to pump the brakes, release them, pump the brakes, and you can hear the air kind of pouring in and out of the wing, and it's very, very stable whilst you're doing this. And as a result, you can come down almost vertically with only a little bit of wind. If you've got a bit more wind, you can definitely come down vertical, no problem. But almost a nil wind, you can bring this thing down vertically, and this opens up a lot of tight landing spaces, because you can just get in above and then just pump your way down. And it's amazing. I've flown very few wings that feel quite as stable as this one as you're doing it. You get a lot of warning before this thing stalls, and when it does stall, it really wants to fly again. Like, you have to fight it very hard to keep this glider in a stall.
Here today on my base harness in Chamonix. The reason I'm out here with the base harness on the Soar is that I want to put the wing through some SIV style tests. Something to note is that I'm not a test pilot, so I'm probably not going to induce it into the maneuvers exactly right or as well or as neatly as a test pilot would. So, you know, if it looks a little bit raggedy or something, it's probably less of the wing and more me. So far flying this wing, I've always felt very secure on it, and I really like the way it does react to stuff. So we'll start off with some asymmetrics. I'll do one on the right first of all, and I want to see how much it turns. So I'm flying straight, I'm not going to do anything, I'm just going to pull it down and then let go. So check the airspace, clear, here we go. Probably turned less than 45 degrees. Really nice, very simple. Let's do the same on the left. Here we go. Again, not doing anything. Really nice, very simple. This time I'm going to hold it down and see if I can keep it, and then do some steering to the left with a bit of weight shift. So here we go. Turn about 90 degrees, probably less than 90 degrees, and now I'm in back to normal flight. I can turn left with some weight shift. Nice, feel very stable. Let's just open that out. Got a pump to help it. Okay, so yeah, asymmetrics seem great. Feel very secure doing that. This time we will do a full frontal. So just going to pull it down and let go, and not going to do anything. Here we go. Recovery, really easy, didn't feel aggressive, that was nice. Okay, let's try doing a spin. So with this spin I'm just going to pull till it goes, and then I'm going to go hand straight back up again. So here we go. Pretty benign, didn't have to do anything afterwards. Still on the left. Dive a bit. I mean, the ideal would definitely be to break that dive, which I feel like is something you'd do normally. I wasn't really breaking the dive, so I was getting close to a frontal, but to be honest, I would definitely break the dive normally. I feel like that's normal for a B-wing. Let's do a full stall, see how that is. In full stall now, good. Just find back fly. Did an easy back fly. And out we go. So the wing definitely wants to fly again. Not quite used to how much it wants to fly again. So I didn't come out of that as cleanly as I wanted, but yeah, it was fine. I mean, the wing does really want to fly again. Which is nice. So when it's coming out of the full stall, then it wants to come out as soon as you get hands up a little bit. See if we can do a bit heli. So yeah, I would say all the reactions of the wing are very easy, very manageable. I've definitely flown some Bs where they're far more shooty. Just do a couple of wing overs. I really like the way this wing overs. Nice, easy brake pressure. catch and shoot, which is not hard on this wing at all. Really nice. I mean, that's fantastic. Wing overs are lovely on this thing. And then on the big ears, I find that they're going super easy, they're easy to pull. And then the wing is really easy to weight shift to there, so I'm just going to turn to the left now. Feels very comfortable with the big ears in. I really like it. A bit of turbulence here at the end. Yeah, we're just going to pop them out and they come out nice and easy. Little pump.
By no means is this wing aimed at the beginner pilot. It's definitely aimed at a pilot who is, you know, a strong intermediate pilot who wants to be flying a wing that has performance yet also has the safety margin. I would not recommend this as your first or even your second wing, I don't think. I think this is a great wing for a pilot that's been flying for a while and wants something that gives them a lot of performance but a lot of safety. The reason I don't think it's particularly well suited to lower end pilots is it does fly quite fast on its trim speed, and when it does reinflate it comes forwards quite hard, and you definitely need to know when to break the wing. Let's talk about the construction of the wing. I'm super impressed by how this thing is made. Right from the risers, which are very light, very streamlined, nothing's wasted, but equally you don't feel like you want anything more. I mean, they're just working great. It's got a popper system on there as opposed to a magnet. Personally, I prefer that because I find magnets are getting knocked off, although they are slightly easier to place, whereas the poppers, perhaps slightly more difficult to place, I find typically they're staying put there. The line set's really nice. The A-lines are red, they're very easy to identify. And although the lines are skinny, I don't feel that they're particularly getting caught up or tangled with each other. One thing I would like to have seen would be a swivel plate on the brakes, which I guess you could retrofit yourself. I find after a long day of flying, of taking my hands off the brake and doing things with my instruments, when I land, my brake lines are getting quite twisted. But I think if you were to put a little swivel plate on there, that would fix that issue. Perhaps a shame that they didn't do it from the factory. In the leading edge of the wing, they've used plastic mail-ons which aren't particularly long, and that allows you to pack up the wing very easily. You don't have to be super conscious about folding it into very long sections, which is then going to take up a lot of room in your bag. In the 50-50 pack up, it's very quick and it's very easy. You just concertina the wing together, squeeze the air out of it, fold the leading edge over on itself to the other side, and then you put the whole thing into the concertina bag, like so, zip it up, and then fold it in half. And you can see it makes a pretty nice, stumpy kind of package. I really like the way it folds. It's fitting into my bag very quickly, and it's not taking long to pack up. And for Volbiv, I think this is very important because you can waste a lot of your time packing the wing. So I like the fact that they used short rods. One thing I've noticed when you're on sort of 50% speed bar, if you look up to the inlet to the wing, is that you see them fluttering a little bit. And they have used some pieces of cord going across the cells in places. And I guess it's a little unusual, but it doesn't seem to be affecting the performance of the wing. Overall, I would recommend this to any intermediate pilots and above. Even if you're used to flying, you know, like a D-glider, I think you're still going to have a lot of fun on this, and you'll definitely appreciate the safety and the confidence it gives you. I think you want to be flying this wing after a few years with a bit of experience. And mainly I would say that is because the wing, if it does kind of surge, it will take a bit of energy with it. And I feel like in those situations, you want to know that you can stop it and you've got enough hours and experience to sort of be able to put strong enough inputs into this wing. And I think if you're maybe a little bit at the start of your flying career, it might get a little bit away from you and you could put yourself into some interesting situations. So overall, fantastic wing, really inspiring on the confidence. It's definitely giving great performance. I feel like it's not far off the Arctic 5 that I was flying last year. It's definitely not a two-liner, but it's a very nice, beautifully made wing. I find that as soon as I'm on it, I'm just like, oh yeah, this feels like home. I love the direct inputs on the brakes. It's definitely a bit firm, so if you like a wing that's a little bit softer, perhaps this wing will not be your favorite. But if you like a wing that's got nice firm input and it's very direct, then I think you're going to love this thing.